Hey everybody, it's been a little while since my last video. The underhood is no longer red. So we cleaned that up, made it yellow. It's going to get a black insulation, so all you see is about that much out. But up here you see, so we're hoping to have that pretty decent. I guess the insulation comes up to about here. So you see all this upper piece really well. And I think you can see the little holes here. I think that's where it goes. So I think you see from here out. We paint the whole thing because, you know, you want to protect it and good, and who knows what was there before. So basically I epoxy primed the whole thing after we prepped it. And then we put a coat of yellow on it. Now he gave me a couple coats of yellow, and I notice if you look at the hinge versus the fender, it's hard to tell on camera, but the hinge is a touch darker. He gave me 2-part quartz, and I noticed one was a little darker, so I put it under the hood because I believe the true color is the brighter yellow. So for what you're going to see under the hood, I think that's all right. We kind of caught the edges. This will be repainted, but you know, just that you have coverage there depending on how you paint later. So here's what our hood is looking like. It's pretty nice and smooth. We got 2 little lows right there, and I mean they're barely there. But the hood is so nice, I'm just going to touch those up and prime them in. I was going to epoxy the whole hood and block it, but it's actually come so smooth that I'm not going to do that because I don't think we have to. We might do just like a 1 coat to seal everything because that turned out really good. I had no idea it was going to turn out quite that good. I sanded it a little lighter with a block, and I believe 220, and then gave it some regular primer, and I mean it's smooth, smooth, smooth. So I hit this fender, and I'm not sure if you look down here, you see that kind of greeny primer? Well, that's lovely stuff. So every time you sand with that, do a few strokes and you end up with all of that. So it binds up your paper. So to do the front fender, gosh, I don't know, there's paper everywhere. I threw a bunch over there as I changed it. But it's pretty smooth, but we did find right back here, and I primed it to check everything while it was wet, but right here, there's some weird dents going on. They're not real bad, so that'll be a real thin coat. There's a bad little ding right here. Again, we'll put a thin coat there, and if we do those 2 spots, we can then sand the fender to 400 and it's ready for paint. Hood's the same thing, fix those spots, prime it, sand to 400. We're doing a single stage paint which requires 320 to 400, so 400 will be lots. Don't know what kind of primer was on the door. It was beautiful, it sanded beautifully. There was a couple spots where you could almost see metal, so I threw a little more primer on. The door's blocked, so basically sand to 400, and again, ready to paint. The quarter needs a bit of work. Right there, you see a few little spots. There's a little right there, right there. But I mean, I gotta sand this round. I just left it sharp, so I may not, I don't know, maybe, we'll see. I'll probably fill these individually because I gotta do other little spots. And then when I sand the round, it'll turn out, you know, all the same. Because if I sand it now, sometimes the holes get bigger and then you're messing with that. And it just goes uneven, right? You want everything straight. A little bit of work to do right down there. Because we had to fill this in to make the lines line up. Because believe it or not, those rear quarters didn't match the door. And I don't care what you spend on quarter panels. Now I know those AMD complete quarters that come up to here, they're pretty spectacular, but even then you're doing some work. These 80%ers, they're all over the place. So what do we got on here? You can see through the primer, I just threw 1 coat, but right around this spot that I fixed, I'm gonna do a real thin coat there. A little bit down there to fix. I think this is good otherwise. Yeah, we're gonna go with it. I mean, the car's yellow, so if there's stuff, too bad. There was a little bit of unevenness on this side, but it wasn't as bad, so I went over that today, and realistically, all I had to do was block it out. and then I hit it with the primer while it was wet to see the line, and it's nice. So there was enough filler on there to block that out. There's a little low spot right here, and I don't want to block any more of this out because everything else on the sail panel is real nice and smooth. So we're just going to put a bit of fill in there and blend that out. The roof is pretty much done. Bad side of the trunk lid. You can see no primer in the corner right here. There's a touch of a low spot there, but the rest of this is like silk. I'm happy with it. Comes down nice. That's just my handprint full of dust. So that's 400 and paint. This I just primed. I'm gonna have to sand this one more time lightly just to see if there's any lows or chips or anything funny, because here's a few here, just some little guys like that. But I'll go over it with some, gosh, probably just a 220 on a small board, just real lightly, just to see all those little spots, touch them up, do it again, prime it. Back here I haven't finished yet. Down the lower part of the trunk, it's good enough. We've got that big chrome piece that goes here. Gonna have to blow in some yellow there before we'll do that all when we do the car, I guess. Gonna be an interesting one to tape. I normally do these all in pieces, but in the interest of time, we might do this one pretty quickly. Might paint the whole car in one shot. So I got a little bit of weirdness back here. Right there, and we're talking like a little bit of, that's pretty good. All down there needs to be primed, but I'm pretty sure it's okay. A little bit there. Down there, there's some rough stuff. So this has to be sanded basically from here forward. And I've been blocking that with about a 180. Don't know about the primer on this door yet, but it is smooth, smooth, smooth. Whatever that red stuff is, we could pretty much just sand that, call it good to go. But I got to take the handle off, do this into the fender. That will sand smooth. And then the other front fender, which is right here. This one doesn't seem to be all beat up. There's a little mark right there, but I think it'll sand off. So that green stuff will, this is that green primer I was talking about. I don't know where he got the fenders from or whatever, but yeah, he kind of jammed stuff weird and he taped edges, and like he should have just let it blend out, but yeah, who knows? He just thought, you know, in case the guy who painted the car for him missed it. I'm not sure what he was used to, but this poor car has seen a lot of traumatic body work before it came to me, so in case you're wondering, I got all this smooth by basically flooding the whole thing. I ran an air board filer across it, like the air sander, the long board, and then I went by hand, crisscrossed it all over the place. And so this side, well, we'll have to see. As things have gotten smoother, I don't have to do it everywhere, but I might still, like I said, I was originally going to do 2-3 thick coats of high build on the fenders, same as the hood. The hood now is just going to get one coat, maybe. I might just do it with regular primer, because like I say, it turned out pretty sweet. The trunk lid, it'll be done by hand pretty sweet. So the only thing I might do, the high build, is I might do 2 coats. I'm finding that primer is a little thicker than I thought, so I'm going to do 2 coats on these once I fill that out, just to get any sand scratchiness away and seal it up. So, you know, some of that stuff I'll touch up first, but it'll be pretty minor. Down there's got to be finished out at the bottom, but that's all added in so that it can all be blocked together. So that's fine. What do we got on the roof? Looks funny, but it's smooth, smooth, smooth. There was enough materials on there to block it. Like even this yellow thing doesn't stick up. It's like not even there, so we'll prime that. Now the top we're probably gonna do maybe do like a coat and a half. It's where you go a little light and sticky and then do 1 solid coat, and that'll be enough to block this out. So basically the roof section down, and then 2 coats on the 2 quarters. Deck lid and the deck, whatever you call it, package tray, trunk lid, gonna leave those alone now. This we're just gonna 1 coat seal it. Fix up a few spots on this, I think, and seal it. Because this ended up, I mean, it had so much work that I kept blocking it down and down and down. There's a lot of primer. It's been all sanded. There's one little wave right here. I mean, we're talking rice paper thin. I don't know. I might prime that yet with the thick stuff. Maybe I'll do 2 coats. That might be enough to take care of that wave, and we'll just kind of block it out. Just getting to the point where I kind of want to get this thing painted and get it out of here. It's been here a while. Somewhere over the weekend we'll probably do this. This in here's got to be a color called Argent. This in here's got to be black, and then in here there's a red pinstripe. Now I don't have to do that, but he said if I wanted to do it, do it. But I'm going to do at least the Argent, which is the big one. So I'll tape everything off with vinyl tape, then paper tape. Do the Argent. I got to do these in Argent. Argent Silver, which is like Dodge. Excuse me. It's basically Dodge's color for all the silver gray rims. So this is that. These are made out of some kind of pop metal. So we have a different type of primer on that etches on and sticks pretty good. But they actually fit the car now. Just to give you an idea, I'm a little inspired to do a car out of two-tone gray. Tell me that ain't beautiful right there. The light gray and the dark gray contrast. I'd like to do a whole car like that and then clear coat it. You know, do like a single stage paint, obviously, because you don't want primer, and well, then you don't have to clear coat it. But anyway, so these are going to be Argent. These bigger ones are black. Then here you got to run a line, curve it, and go up to the other side. Same across the back. We're going to do the center black, which is something Mopar did. The other thing they did is they did a black hood, which came actually out to the fender, and then it was like a yellow up the middle, so it would have had like a 2 wide stripes. But he didn't like that. He just wants that middle piece blacked out. But anyway, she's coming along. Every time you come in and look at the car, I had a person in here yesterday, and the lady come in, and she knows cars pretty good, and she came in and she knew this car the way it was, and she walked in, she goes, "How did you get another Mopar already?" I said it was the same one, but it was just funny because as the car becomes straight, it slowly becomes a different car. Anyway, that's it for today. Just wanted to do an update on the Satellite Sport satellite, whatever you want to call it. Cheers.